Tekno orange looks like about 10 millimeters taller, and whoa. You don't need this on the bench right this second, so I'm just going to put this down for a minute, and then I'm going to show you the things that I got for it. First of all, here's the shock that broke, so it needs a shaft. And the shaft came in with my order from A-Main. This is a partial order. Other stuff, you'll have to be subscribed and hit the notification bell so you see what I do with the other parts that came in, because some of them are a surprise as part of that contest that I'm doing for the giveaway for 4,000. You can't know what other upgrades I got yet, you have to guess. As you can see, we're going to do RPM. I do have the RPM front bumper skid plate, and this is the rear skid. So we're going to put those on. I got the shock shaft. This is the front shock shaft of a Kraton. It also works as the rear shock shaft of an ARRMA Typhon. Regarding the shock, because I lost the spring, I didn't want to have to buy stock springs. So people on the forums suggest going this way, getting some Tekno orange truggy springs. So these are the heaviest Tekno springs that they make. The 90 millimeters for the rear, 80 millimeters for the front. And they're both orange rate springs. So these will be stiffer. We're gonna do springs and bumper. If the front bumper is inadequate, your bumper is way in behind the front wheels, so you're likely to hit something, break an arm, or break a shock like I did first thing out. So this shock is off of my ARRMA Typhon. So I want to remove that, salvage that back. This is the rear shock from my Typhon. Get that back on there, and then fix the original stock shocks. But regarding the bumper, I'm going with RPM because of availability at the time. I know there's some new stuff coming by T-Bone Racing that I am looking forward to getting and testing, but it hasn't arrived yet. So for the meantime, I got this RPM to try. Okay, we're gonna do a head cam shot just because I want to test this out, as well as it's something that I normally don't do, but I've seen others do it. And while I try and usually be unique and, you know, get some really nice shots of my upgrades, it really slows things down. So I just wanted to be able to get some footage of what I'm doing live, because when you're trying to shoot good video while building something, it's quite difficult. So there is some assembly required for the bumper, and yeah, it looks like it does not replace the original stock bumper. It'll just go on over top. So nut and screw this together like so, and then you just screw it on. And I believe that these screws will probably replace the install front bumper skid assembly using the 4 flathead screws. Remove the stock screws from the chassis. You may discard. Why would you throw screws away? Do not do that. Keep your old screws and put the new screws in. What size do you need? Everyone, it's always the last one, right? It's a 2.5. Yeah, you need a 2.5 mil hex driver. You don't have to, oh, look at that. You can't get the nut driver in the hole. That's a bit of a design flaw. That would be nice if they had kept that a little bit more open. Just gonna have to hold it while I start screwing it down. I guess it's probably designed so that it captures itself. You just have to be able to get it started. It is designed exactly for the nut so that it becomes its own wrench. So that's good. There we go. You can hear, you can feel it grab once it grabs. Okay, so that's it. That's the M4x12. That's a nice looking bumper. It's got a really nice front skid, and now we'll just be able to pop this up underneath, and it just mounts into the 4 holes used to hold the diff to the chassis. Quality control packaged by OH. Quality control packaged by OH. You get an RPM sticker, and packaged by CE for the other one. It's funny, I wonder if they get service calls and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, can you please tell me what your packaged by slip says so we can go and punish that worker?" Okay, so these ones are 2.5s. All you got to do is loosen these 4. And if you have a power driver, that would be ideal. I don't. I mean, that is one tool that I really should invest in, is a nice powered driver. But I do everything, absolutely everything by hand. Now we take these 4 screws, they're all the same. These are the M4x12. Look at the length difference, stock versus RPM, because it has to go through the thickness of the bumper, which is significant. For the little diff housing, and these are countersunk so that they fit right down in there. perfectly. Might run into problems if you have the new V3, is because since it goes on right over top of the stock bumper, because this stock bumper is what holds in the hinge pins on this truck. So you need the stock bumper. So let me pull that off, I'll show you, sir. And that's all that holds the hinge pins in. So you just need to make sure that that's why you have to keep that bumper. So look at that before you buy this bumper if you own a Kraton V3. That's why T-Bone Racing has a new XV4 version called XV4 2.0, and it's specifically designed for the Kraton V3 and Italian V3. So I don't know if RPM has that same issue, but look into it before you buy. You know, do your cross pattern, just loosely get them started in a cross pattern and then tighten them down in a cross pattern. Now remember, don't go crazy overboard on tightening these down, because you're not going into any metal. You're going plastic into plastic. It's all plastic. So, you know, get them till they're snug, but do not over torque. That's where you want to be very careful when you're using any kind of power tool, is because you can take them too far. And they do sink down in there quite a bit. Save your M4x12 screws. You never know when you could use a set of screws. And there's the front bumper is done. Oh, yeah. Look at how much better that is. Comes out right to where you would want it. Protects the shocks. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And I think it looks awesome with the body on it too. Yeah. That's awesome. The T-bone that I was talking about comes up higher. It comes up to about where the top of my fingers are. It's a double bar design on the new T-bone XV4, which I don't have, but I should be getting soon. So I can show you that when I get it, and I can directly compare them as well. All right, let me get the rear skid on. This is 81442, and it just comes with the 4 longer bolts you need, and you just screw it right on over top. All right, just in case you don't know how to do it, because it doesn't come with any instructions, take off the 4 bolts. They're again little M4 by probably 10 or 12 M4 screws. Are they the same as the fronts? Yeah, exactly the same as the front, M4 by 12. So undo the 4 of them. This goes on this way. Countersinks down in, as well as it's got a nice little sloped. It's a rear skid plate, right? So it's got a nice little slope here. Let's get them started. I just wanted to show you, here's how much of a lip it gives you on the front. So that's how much of a skid you're getting. You're getting a skid plate on the front and a skid plate on the rear. So that's the whole point of it. Bumpers and skids, more protection. All right, so now that the bumpers are on, next thing would be the springs. So if you're gonna do big air jumps, get some Tekno springs. Really, really good idea to get those. And I got these from Grumpy's RC Garage. So go check them out, and they ship within US or Canada, so you don't have to deal with any customs or anything, any nonsense like that. I wanted to get a baseline reading of what it's like with the stock springs. Let me put the heavy battery in, and I'm just gonna do a drop from maybe there, like a foot off the ground, like that, and we'll get a reading of how high the rear arms are. It looks like they're pretty much ideal right now, actually, but so they're 2 inches off the ground right now. And we're going to put the Tekno rear springs on. I'm going to put them quickly. I'm just going to do the rears, the 90mm rears, pop those in, and then we'll do that same test and see what the ride height is like on those without changing anything else. To get the spring off, it's very simple, actually. I like this design. There just is this one set screw. Then you can pull this pin, and then the shock will just drop right out. Now there's pressure on this, so you want to lift up on that, pull your pin out. Okay. Now your shock is free. Pull up on the collar, pop the collar off, slip the spring off. Okay, there's the stock spring. And then we're going to compare it with the Tekno Orange. Tekno Orange looks like about 10mm taller, and whoa, 10 mils taller and quite a bit heavier. That is a significant rate difference. I'm putting it with the same amount of pressure on. Yeah, that's significant. Put the paint towards the top, because if your paint is on the bottom, it's more likely to get chipped off, and then you won't remember what springs you have. So color towards the top, pop your collar in. On the actual collar here, there's a little key, so it only goes in the one way, or make sure it goes in the right way so it locks, so it can't pivot, and that's it. And then there you go. Oh yeah. Both Tekno springs are on the rear, and this is just a good test of with the battery laden. Look at the ride height now. I think we gained about half an inch or a quarter of an inch, but that's a lot when it comes to arm travel. So it looks like we're at 2 1/4. We're between 2 1/4 and 2 1/2 for inches. But before these arms were completely flat. They were like that, and now they're like this. So that's going to be great for jumps, because now if you compress it, like I left these collars where they were before, right? That's almost out of threads for compression. So you don't need to have that much compression on these springs. So I'm going to back them off probably about 10 or 20 turns, and then I just have a lot more adjustment because it's a stiffer spring and a longer spring. When I want to do big air jumps, I can put it like this, and when I want to do, you know, more speed run style stuff, I'll be able to get it down like that. All right, cool. Now we're just going to do the same for the front. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up this video. That's plenty enough. So I did the springs and the bumpers, and that'll be enough for this one. So just a wrenching video. Sorry, no running videos, guys, but I am getting this ready to go out on a trip next week, and then you'll get some bashing videos with it. Cool. Thanks for watching.